Every single member of the federal government in Washington, D.C., including all of those employed at the Pentagon, are now planning to evacuate North America. They're not planning to abdicate control of North America, but physically they are going to remove themselves from the continent and govern from halfway across the world. They realize they can no longer provide for their own material physical security in Washington, D.C. And when the border gets completely overrun, like it is now, and they default on the debt, there will be total anarchy. They don't have the security forces to even keep the jails running, much less provide for their own security. Don't think so? There's proof. This is where the new seat of the U.S. government is going to be. Now, we're going to cover this in today's video, but I would like to address a couple of things before we get there because this dovetails directly with it. When all of this goes down, there's going to be a brand new set of rules to live by in North America, and if you're not familiar with them, you're going to be a victim of them. Now, real quick, a lot of this we're going to have to talk about over at Patreon, but we're going to give you the basic details here today. If you'd like to join us at Patreon, thank you. From the bottom of my heart, I really honestly mean it. Thank you so much. Those of you who have joined us over there have made a huge difference in my life. You have allowed me to keep both of these channels going. And I have to make decisions now that keep the channels operating. Those are the only right decisions. Regardless of any other consideration, any decision I would make that would cause me to lose this would be the incorrect one, regardless of how moral or immoral one way or the other it would be. $1 per month, even less if you sign up for an entire year, fully refundable first 90 days, no questions asked. It's like going up to a candy machine, putting in $1, and then being able to sample everything in the candy machine. And if none of it was to your liking, you get your dollar back for 90 days. Imagine that. That's all the risk. Now, many people have thought when the end finally came, it would look something like this. I found this over on an ArtStation website, and I thought it was a very odd picture, so I decided to share it. Many people would look at it and go, well, this seems pretty normal, Florida Maki. You've got some people around a campfire. We've got a couple of ballistic weapons tents, a couple of bags. Looks like a medical kit. What's wrong with it? Looks like they've even got some string up here where they're drying some clothes and cooking something. Look in the background. Look in the upper right. Zoom in if you have to. It's a house. Why in the world would you be pitching tents out in the middle of the snow and sitting around freezing a campfire when there's a house right here? See, this is emblematic of a lot of the way modern preppers think. They think last century. We have to be thinking next century. I saw this picture as well, where these guys are sitting around this teeny tiny little fire, the three of them, and there's a building behind them. Just absolutely insane. Now, what does that have to do with anything? Well, there are going to be new rules. These people are going to be bringing the new rules with them. A lot of people still scratch their heads. Why are they coming? Where are they coming from? Why can't they stay where they're at? They're not migrants, they're illegals. I'm going to share this, illuminate this for you today, why they are coming and what the new rules are, and also show you that you would likely do the exact same thing they're doing. How many of you out there have ever been in prison or known somebody who's been in prison? What's the rule? Any day not in prison is a good day. A lot of people talk about preparing for end of the world scenario, shit it's the fan, all this type of stuff. You call it shit it's the fan, they call it Tuesday. That's what prison is to them. And any day not in prison or not dead is a good day. Now, I've shown these images a lot, and boy, it really ticks people off. I get people saying all sorts of inaccurate things about how pro-prostitution I am and all this kind of stuff. I'm not pro-prostitution. I'm just telling you what the reality is of what's coming when capitalism takes over completely this country. The reason you don't have this in virtually every single neighborhood in America is because of socialism. Period. Now, for these people, any day not dead or not in prison is a good day. And whatever you have to do to make that be the case, and that's going to be the new rule for North Americans, that's what you have to do. Because, you see, I brought this up from Colony. We live in a moment where we do what we have to do for the people that we love. The old rules just don't apply. I've made the allegation before that when everything collapses, everything falls apart, there's going to be this huge, massive prison release across this country. Why? Because the government won't be able to afford it anymore. Billions and billions of dollars to keep these prisons going. They're going to shut them down. Now, this image is overcrowding, giant air quotes, of a prison in North America. This is the North American version of an overcrowded prison. Would you like to see what the definition of an overcrowded prison is? Where these people come from? Here you go. Yes, this is a prison in Latin America. Just some shelves, everybody cramped on the floor, body to body. When they say we're going to do anything and everything we can do to possibly stay out of prison, this is what they're trying to avoid. Not this. This. And this is, I brought this up because this is a women's prison in Latin America. You see, this is a definition of hell. People get thrown into Latin American prisons and they just get forgot about. And this is your existence. This is your everyday, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year existence. And only if you have somebody on the outside who's willing to really go to bat for you, or has a lot of money, or has the ability to somehow sway somebody some way, you're stuck. And they'll just let you die. This is why they're coming. Now say, Florimaki, why don't they just stay out of prison? Why don't they just live honest, moral lives? Down there, you have two choices. Three, really. When the drug cartels come a-calling, you can do what they say. If you're a boy, they're going to give you a gun, and you're going to go shake people down. If you're a girl, I don't have to elucidate anymore what they're going to ask you to do for money. If you don't do that, they'll kill you. If you do that, then you could run afoul of the authorities. Your only other choice is to run. So it's prison, prostitution, being a thug, or getting out. Those are your choices down there. Now, you can morally pontificate philosophically about, well, that's the way things, that's if they'd have just been more America-like and all this. Horseshit. Every government down there is based on Washington, D.C. Every single one of them. Trump, military will defend border from caravan invasion. A lot of people think this image is from the Biden era. This is from 2018. And when the checks go away, see, this is going to be Southern Prepper 1 today put up a video talking about when is America going to fight back? When is America going to stop tolerating this? When is all this going to happen? It was real simple. When the checks stop rolling in. The first of the month comes around and all those military folks don't get paid and all those VA disability folks don't get paid and all those Social Security checks ain't in the mail and the bank accounts are empty and people can't make payments and all that happens. That's when. You see, these are the new rules. I'm not saying it's ideal. I'm not saying it's perfect. But what if I told you, in this country, millions of you out there, I don't know if I have millions now, but there are millions and millions and millions of people out there, used to sing along happily to a song that promoted this. Every day, every elevator, every restaurant played it. It was on the radio. It's still on the radio. And I guarantee you sing along to it when you hear it. You know the chorus by heart. And you don't even wince when you sing along to the song. This idea of prostitution. The new rule: anything that leaves you at the end of the day with more cash in your pocket than you started, that's the right decision to make. I know a lot of people are already wincing and typing. Here's your song, by the way. Here's your song, and don't say you don't know it. Don't say you've never heard it. It's been played so many tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of times since the 70s in grocery stores, in waiting rooms, in elevators, everywhere. Number 7 most heard song from the Eagles ever, and that's saying something. And everybody's singing with me. You can't hide your lying eyes, and your smile is a thin disguise. I thought by now you'd realize there ain't no way to hide your lying eyes. What's the song about? What's the song about? Anybody got the idea from the verses here? Yeah, it's about a girl who decides, you know what? I'm going to find some rich old guy. And I'm going to engage in a soft form of prostitution. I'm going to give him what he wants. And his cold hands are going to give me what I want. Dress all in lace and go in style. But then, because that's not really going to make me feel all that great, I'm going to go commit adultery behind his back. I'm going to go run over to the other side of town where a boy is waiting. And they rush into each other's arms and fall together. And everybody sings the song. And they don't think about what they're singing about. Lying, a very soft form of prostitution, and adultery. But yet when I talk about it, somehow I'm this evil, immoral, terrible, horrible channel that nobody needs to listen to. When people have been and don't tell me it's not. Singing is a form of worship. When they have been worshiping these concepts just philosophically in the back of their mind for nearly 50, or probably more than 50 years now. I think it was 73, 74 when this came out. And that's all the song's about. And it's all I have ever alleged. I remember the first time I brought it up. I'm like, this is incredible. I mean, the girl in the song Lion Eyes decides to go shack up with a rich old guy because she wants to have good style and not have to worry about things and all that kind of stuff. In the series Colony, the woman in the picture here, the character Maddie Kenner, the actress Amanda Righetti, they're in dire straits. They've been, separated. The walls have come down. Aliens had visited. And things are scarce. Things are very, very hard to get. And she has a son that needs insulin. Or he's going to die. Now imagine all of those people coming from South America. You don't think amongst them there's a mother, perhaps, the kid that has a need like this? Any decision you make that allows you to provide insulin for your child so that they don't die is the right decision and the moral decision. And in this particular case, she tries not once, go watch the series, not once, but twice to go shack up with somebody that's got some wherewithal so that she can get insulin for her kid. It's just that simple. These are just the new rules. You don't have to like them. And by the way, the building, I know we're 14 minutes in, a massive, very strange new quote-unquote U.S. embassy in a tiny Middle East nation is raising eyebrows. 12 May 2023. Now, this is Lebanon. Beirut. Wait until you hear the size of this place. A massive new U.S. embassy complex in Lebanon is causing controversy for its sheer size and opulence in a country where 80% of the population is under the poverty line. 13 kilometers from the center of Beirut, the U.S.'s new quote-unquote embassy compound in Lebanon looks like a city of its own, sprawling over a 43-acre site. The complex in the Beirut suburb of Al-Khar is almost 2.5 times the size of the land the White House sits on, and more than 21 soccer fields. Many Lebanese on Twitter questioned why the U.S. needs such a large, giant air quotes, embassy in their capital. Lebanon is smaller than Connecticut and has a population of just 6 million. Few American tourists go to the country, as the State Department has placed it on the third highest travel advisory level, but it does have a sizable population of Lebanese American residents. Quote, "Did the U.S. move to Lebanon?" tweeted Sandy, a social media activist. "Maybe you'll have enough room to work on all those pending visa applications." Computer-generated images published by the embassy show an ultra-modern compound hosting multi-story buildings with high glass windows, rec areas, swimming pools surrounded by greenery, and views of the capital. The compound includes a chancery, representational and staff housing, facilities for the community, and associated support facilities. Seriously, I don't know how people can't see this. The U.S. government is clearly planning on evacuating North America when crap goes south. And they've got a place to go. Lebanon. Now, I know I have already prophecy people typing. And I'm just going to let them type because they're going to tell you exactly what the Bible says about this. About Lebanon. And about prophecy and about the end times. So here it is, being constructed right before your eyes. They're leaving North America. They're leaving North America, and there's going to be a massive invasion of, you think it's big now? Just wait. And there's going to be new rules in hyper-capitalist North America. And the new rules are very simple. It's not going to be figure out how to make a campfire with a house 100 feet away. No, those aren't going to be the rules. Stay above ground and breathing, and stay out of prison. And you may not like what you have to do it. Do not be detained. Do not end up behind razor wire. You will never see freedom again. And don't end up in a hole. Now, do you have a little bit of forgiveness for these people? A little bit of understanding about why this is easy for them? They don't even blink at this. Down in Mexico, down in Latin America, they don't make but maybe 15, 20 bucks tops an hour engaging in this type of activity. To come to America where it's $200 or $300 an hour. To put it in perspective, especially for the ladies in my audience, what if instead of prostitution being a $200 to $300 proposition, it was a $2,000 to $3,000 proposition? What if you could work for 2 hours a night and make $6,000? Or I guess you could probably say 2 hours a month and make $6,000. See, that's exactly what they see coming here. They see an increase in the rate of pay for what they have to do already by a factor of 10. Or they can work for the amount of money they're doing this down there for and just clean hotel rooms. You see, here in America, you can get a $15 or $20 an hour job running a vacuum cleaner, being a maid, just doing menial labor, and never have to do this again. So now do you see why they're coming here? It's pretty simple. See, where they come from, they only have, and I'll say it again, 3 choices. Number 1, leave and come here. Number 2, work for their cartels as either prostitutes or hired hitmen, drug runners, or end up in jail or dead. Those are their choices. Refuse the drug cartels and they shoot you. Refuse the drug cartels and they shoot you and take your kids anyway. work for the cartels and end up in prison, and I'll show these pictures again real quick, and end up here, end up here, end up here, or come to America and make the journey and be called names by North Americans. See, to them, it doesn't bother them. Being called names doesn't bother them. Being called illegals, being called invaders, being called a subhuman, being called, and that doesn't bother them. It doesn't bother them. Any day above ground and breathing. Any day above ground and breathing, any day where you have something to eat, where you're not in prison, where you got a place of your own, you got a little bit of hope. That's what's happening. So I'll give you the link and you can read it. But that's all she wrote for the experiment. Only took 200 and something years. It's already over. God bless. Pray for each other. Lift each other up. Like, share, subscribe. We'll see you guys next time.